ground loop should be broken if it is causing problems in an electrical system. Ground loops can occur when there are multiple paths to ground, creating unwanted current flow. This current can introduce noise into sensitive electronic equipment, cause humming in audio systems, or even pose a safety hazard. One method to resolve a ground loop is to interrupt the unintended current path and then properly splice the wires back together. A Cad weld, also known as exothermic welding, is a technique used to create a permanent, high-quality electrical connection between copper conductors. The process involves using the heat from an exothermic reaction to melt and fuse the conductors together. This creates a connection with excellent conductivity, corrosion resistance, and mechanical strength. Here are the steps to splice wires back together using a Cad weld. Firstly, prepare the wires. Strip the insulation from the ends of the wires to be spliced. The length of insulation to remove will depend on the size of the Cad weld mold being used. Ensure that the exposed copper conductor is clean and free of any contaminants. Secondly, clean the conductors. Use a wire brush or sandpaper to thoroughly clean the exposed copper conductors. This removes any oxides or dirt that could interfere with the welding process. A clean surface ensures a strong and reliable connection. Thirdly, twist the wires. Twist the ends of the wires together clockwise. This provides mechanical strength to the joint before the weld is performed. The tightness and length of the twist will depend on the size of the conductors. Fourthly, place the wires in the mold. Position the twisted wires inside the Cad weld mold. The mold is typically made of graphite and is designed to contain the molten copper during the welding process. Ensure that the wires are properly seated within the mold cavity. Fifthly, fill the mold with molten copper. Ignite the exothermic welding material inside the mold. This material typically consists of copper oxide and aluminum powder. The exothermic reaction generates intense heat, melting the copper oxide and producing molten copper. The molten copper flows into the mold cavity, surrounding and fusing with the conductors. Sixthly, allow the copper to cool and solidify. Allow the molten copper to cool and solidify completely. This may take several minutes, depending on the size of the weld. Avoid disturbing the mold or wires during the cooling process. Seventhly, remove the Cad weld from the mold. Once the copper has solidified, carefully remove the Cad weld from the mold. Use a hammer and chisel or other suitable tools to break away any excess mold material. Eighthly, insulate the splice. Insulate the splice with electrical tape or other approved insulating material. This protects the connection from moisture, corrosion, and accidental contact. Overlap the insulation layers to ensure complete seal. Remember that Cad welding is a specialized skill that requires training and experience. It is essential to follow all safety precautions and manufacturer's instructions when performing Cad welds. If you are not familiar with Cad welding, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to perform the work. Cad welding creates a permanent and reliable electrical connection, but it also generates intense heat and requires proper safety equipment. Always wear appropriate personal protective equipment, including safety glasses, gloves, and a face shield when performing Cad welds. Work in a well-ventilated area to avoid inhaling fumes. Keep flammable materials away from the welding area. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for the Cad weld materials and equipment being used. Incorrectly performed Cad welds can result in weak connections, electrical hazards, and equipment damage. If you are unsure about any aspect of the Cad welding process, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer. They can provide guidance and ensure that the work is performed safely and correctly. Proper grounding is essential for electrical safety. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault currents to flow back to the source, tripping circuit breakers or fuses and preventing electrical shock hazards. Ground loops can compromise the effectiveness of grounding systems, so it is important to identify and eliminate them. In addition to Cad welding, there are other methods for splicing wires together. These include mechanical connectors, such as crimp connectors and split bolt connectors. The choice of splicing method will depend on the specific application, the size and type of conductors, and the environmental conditions. Always use connectors that are rated for the voltage and current of the circuit. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing the connectors. Inspect the connections regularly to ensure that they are tight and corrosion-free. Loose or corroded connections can cause overheating, voltage drops, and electrical hazards. When working with electrical systems, always de-energize the circuit before performing any work. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is de-energized. Follow lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental re-energization of the circuit. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, including safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician. They have the training and experience to perform the work safely and correctly. Electrical safety is paramount. Always follow safe work practices and comply with all applicable electrical codes and regulations. Improperly installed or maintained electrical systems can pose serious hazards to life and property. If you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. It can provide guidance and ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. Electrical systems are complex and require specialized knowledge and skills. It is important to stay informed about the latest electrical codes, standards, and technologies. Attend training courses, read industry publications, and network with other electrical professionals to stay up to date. Continuous learning is essential for maintaining competence and ensuring electrical safety. Cad welding is a specialized process that requires a specific set of tools and materials. These include the Cad weld mold, exothermic welding material, ignition source, wire brush, sandpaper, hammer, chisel, electrical tape, safety glasses, gloves, and a face shield. Ensure that you have all the necessary tools and materials before starting the Cad welding process. Use high-quality materials that are designed for the specific application. Inspect the tools and materials regularly to ensure that they are in good condition. Replace any worn or damaged tools or materials immediately. Proper maintenance of tools and materials is essential for ensuring safety and reliability. The size of the Cad weld mold will depend on the size of the conductors being spliced. Use a mold that is appropriately sized for the conductors. A mold that is too small may not provide adequate coverage, while a mold that is too large may result in excessive material waste. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for selecting the correct mold size. The exothermic welding material typically consists of copper oxide and aluminum powder. The ratio of these materials is carefully controlled to ensure a consistent and reliable reaction. Use exothermic welding material that is specifically designed for Cad welding. Do not attempt to mix your own exothermic welding material. The ignition source is used to initiate the exothermic reaction. This can be a flint lighter, an electronic igniter, or a match. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for using the ignition source. Keep the ignition source away from flammable materials. The wire brush and sandpaper are used to clean the conductors before welding. Use a wire brush with stiff bristles to remove any oxides or dirt. Use sandpaper with a medium grit to smooth the surface of the conductors. Clean the conductors thoroughly to ensure a strong and reliable connection. The hammer and chisel are used to remove any excess mold material after the weld has cooled. Use a hammer and chisel that are appropriately sized for the task. Wear safety glasses to protect your eyes from flying debris. Electrical tape is used to insulate the splice after welding. Use electrical tape that is rated for the voltage and temperature of the circuit. Overlap the insulation layers to ensure a complete seal. Safety glasses, gloves, and a face shield are essential personal protective equipment for Cad welding. Wear safety glasses to protect your eyes from flying debris. Wear gloves to protect your hands from burns and cuts. Wear a face shield to protect your face from the intense heat and sparks generated by the exothermic reaction. Always wear appropriate personal protective equipment when performing Cad welds. Cad welding is a process that should only be performed by qualified personnel. If you are not familiar with Cad welding, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to perform the work. Electrical work can be dangerous if not performed correctly. Always follow safe work practices and comply with all applicable electrical codes and regulations. When working with electrical systems, always de-energize the circuit before performing any work. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is de-energized. Follow lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental re-energization of the circuit. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, including safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician. They have the training and experience to perform the work safely and correctly. Electrical safety is paramount. Always follow safe work practices and comply with all applicable electrical codes and regulations. Improperly installed or maintained electrical systems can pose serious hazards to life and property. If you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. They can provide guidance and ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. Electrical systems are complex and require specialized knowledge and skills. It is important to stay informed about the latest electrical codes, standards, and technologies. Attend training courses, read industry publications, and network with other electrical professionals to stay up to date. Continuous learning is essential for maintaining competence and ensuring electrical safety.